What up, guys? I just want to make a quick video regarding the last video I made. I actually kind of came up with a graph um, to like illustrate it. And if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But basically, uh, what I was talking about is that women, their number one thing that they're looking for, I believe, in a man is strength, and basically, a strong masculine presence, which means that you don't succumb to your negative emotions such as anxiety, insecurity, or insecurity, right? So we'll say that this baseline is your sense of security you have in yourself, and then when if you go below it, this is when you're tapping into your insecurity. you know you're going to tap into your insecurity when you go below this sense of security. And then when you above, you have these positive traits such as being funny, witty, smooth. You're trying to be competent. I don't even know if I spelled competent right, probably wrong. But I think what a lot of dudes think is that they need to be the most of positive things. They're trying to be the highest amount of positive things that they can be. And then with this feeling that they need to be so positive, they're actually quite insecure because they have to hold all this up. So they start dropping down into their insecurity. And then sometimes they're just insecure in general. And what happens is that it starts making both directions go haywire, where you will drop down more insecure, and then you got to make up for it by being more funny and more witty and more smooth, and you got to do everything perfect on the date. So then they start trying to do even more positive, and they become, the girl doesn't react because they're trying too hard. She doesn't respond to their text because she senses that you're trying too hard, so they become more insecure, and then they try to be more positive, and it's just going haywire. And they're trying to use all these positives to make up for their insecurity, and yeah, it's basically just creating this haywire system. But what I believe is that these positives don't really matter nearly as much as you staying out of this negative. So if you're only a little bit of positive traits, you're just a little bit funny, witty, you're a little bit you're decently confident, and I guess you're competent at dating. You just got to be a little bit of this, and then don't drop down into this insecurity zone. For one, you don't want to drop down to this insecurity zone because women are looking for strength. So they're not necessarily looking for all this positive, how funny, how witty, how smooth you are, how rich you are. I mean, that's good. Being rich is kind of strength, but just a second. And the problem is that when you allow yourself to become insecure around a woman or anyone, what ends up happening is that all this positive it also becomes part of your insecurity. So your whole system becomes insecure because you end up doing these things just as overcompensation, being funny, being smooth, trying to be competent. You end up doing all these things as overcompensation, and you end up losing your entire self and your flow and your enjoyment. So it's better to stay in this zone right here. You're gonna be a little bit confident, or I mean, it doesn't really matter how you want to be as confident as possible, but you don't have to overdo it. You don't have to overdo it on the humor, overdo it on the texting, trying to text them 24/7, blah, 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 always saying the right things. You want to remain here. And then if you do get insecure, just allow it to drop a little bit, and then you just gotta pull yourself back up. So you gotta stay in this zone so you're not as erratic. It's a little bit, and then you're just kind of moving back and forth between this zone, because we're gonna become a little bit insecure sometimes. She doesn't text back, but don't, you know, like if you get super insecure, you're gonna be like texting her, trying to get good responses from her. Oh my gosh, she didn't respond for 2 hours. Now I need to say something better. Oh my gosh, she didn't respond for 6 hours. This is terrible. Sometimes you just gotta wait it out. And ultimately, I think a woman will care that you don't. She'll be most turned on and attracted if you don't drop down into this insecurity zone. She'll be more attracted to the fact that you don't enter into this zone too much than if you're super funny and all of this other stuff. Because, a woman is looking for a masculine presence of strength. So primarily it's about not dropping into the insecurity. So this is, should give you a reason to not try that hard. You don't need to be all these positivities, life for the party, extrovert, freaking just trying to be the best at everything. And you don't need to go this high up into the positives in your personality. It's really just do not fold and crumple under your own insecurity, and then that basically should be enough. And I've seen a lot of women with boyfriends who, are just generally, I'm not trying to be rude, but they're just a little bit boring. They don't even talk that much. Maybe they're quite kind of insecure, but at least they don't try to overcompensate by being funny, and you just end up kind of clowning if you do that. And yeah, a lot of, women's boyfriends or husbands are really not, spitting riz and, saying all the right things and always got a fresh fade and fade cut. And, they're not always up in this thing performing as the super, off all their positives. They're basically they're just more stable in their emotions. Maybe they're a little bit insecure, but they can handle it. They don't start overcompensating with all this positivity and goofiness, or, they're just more in this kind of stable zone. Maybe they're a little insecure, but, then their mood gets better, but they don't try to overdo it. They just kind of stay in this little zone between being a slightly insecure and then slightly secure. So yeah, you don't have to try so hard on all these things. Your main priority should be do not drop down into this. And that could look like, over texting to get responses because you deem that she lost interest in you. Or, she says that she's busy one week and you panic. Don't do that. Just wait it out and be chill. All right. I hope that makes a lot of sense. Stop trying so hard. You don't need to. And it can actually make you look insecure by being an excessive amount of all these things, because it looks like you're trying. All right. Peace out, y'all.